What is up, ladies and gentlemen? This is the Chig coming at you with another video. Today, we're going to be talking about something Basil and I are incredibly excited about. You can either enjoy or ignore the gameplay in the back. We're just playing Last Epoch while we talk because multitasking is fun for ADHD brains. Anyway, before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Anything you can do to help out the channel, it would be greatly appreciated. Anyway, so yesterday, first day of BlizzCon, we got the announcements for Warcraft, and oh my god, are we excited for November the 30th. What are you thinking about it so far, Mr. Basil?
Warlock tank. Do I have to say anything? Like,
Well,
what?
I mean, I've known you since BC was out when we first started playing, and you've wanted to do that ever since then, so I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else? What other changes are you excited about?
Well, so rogue tank sounds kind of interesting as well. Obviously, another class fantasy people have is shamans, and they get to dual wield. So I know a lot of people going to be stoked about that. And just having some of the abilities that they were either going to put in the game and decided not to, or just they just were like, hey, this is like 3 expansions later, but it fits pretty cool, so let's put it in there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I agree with that. Some of that, you say rogue tank sounds pretty cool. However, I know for a fact you've never leveled a rogue past like level 3. So,
I mean,
uh,
that may be the point, but I'm going back. I think it's a cool concept.
I, however, may do that. My 2 pennies on the metamorphosis thing is I don't know if you remember or not, but the Burning Blade cultists in Duratar that are in the cave over near Razor Hill will turn you into metamorphosis form. So it has been there. It's just, is it actually a thing? And now it is. So those are some really good changes. I am super excited about the dual wielding shaman for sure. The tank and shaman, I could take it or leave it. I've tanked dungeons as a shaman before with current talents and stuff, so I mean it's definitely a thing, but them making it where earth shock is going to be a taunt is pretty cool. I'm more excited about 2 of the paladin changes. I mean, obviously they didn't tell us a lot of the things, but Hand of Reckoning and Crusader Strike, and the fact that all paladins get Crusader Strike and it returns 2% mana instead of costing mana is going to be a game changer, because it didn't say 2% base mana. It says 2% mana.
Yup.
So that is going to have some really interesting repercussions when it comes to AoE farming, when it comes to being a battle healer, which is what I want to do. I'm thinking I'm going to go Shakadin, and it's going to be amazing, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and there's just too many changes to even talk about, but those are some of the ones I'm pretty excited about. I think the biggest thing that I am the most excited about, however, is the date we are getting it.
I know, like, you would expect something new from Blizzard to take a year or two. No, they're like, hey, 3 weeks.
Yeah, my favorite thing that they said when they were talking about it is, hey, this is all about discovery and discovering new things. There's a reason we didn't give you a PTR and any of that stuff. We didn't want you to see it first. And then here you go, in 3 weeks, you're going to be doing the thing. And I, for one, am going to be one of those people that's in general chat going, hey, I found the thing! Because even in every other game I play, even in Warcraft, I check every nook and cranny. So that's what I be doing, so we'll see what I find. Obviously, I'm not going to be in Duratar because I want to be a paladin. I'm a little torn if I want to do paladin or if I want to do shaman, because the fact that shaman can dual wield, you get 2 slow axes and you're just going to be ripping the pepperonis, man. I don't know. I honestly can't even begin to make an interpretation of how I want to do things now, because I'm just at this point where I'm like, well,
So
we're
here's something to go on that though. The level cap is 25.
¿Por qué no los dos?
So exactly, we could just do both.
I mean, you're not wrong. So we know you're gonna play a warlock with my paladin. What are you gonna play with my shaman? That's the
That's a
question.
good question. I'm thinking maybe priest. I don't know if you remember seeing this part. But there's a spell that priests are gonna get that's basically mirror image. Where they just get 3 copies of themselves. One attacks with a sword, one attacks with a mace, one attacks with a axe.
I remember, and I think he mentioned that each one of the different homunculi will put a certain debuff on the character, which is gonna be Chef's Kiss. Like, that is gonna be amazing. Like, that is gonna be a
Yeah.
very cool way to see how things go.
I think that's gonna make discipline priest a thing again. Because obviously we're getting penance, but like at that point you have some melee stuff going on, and that was kind of in their talent tree from the beginning, was things that reduce the damage they take and increase the damage they do with weapons.
Yeah, well, gave him attack power. So inner fire gave
Yeah.
him attack power and armor is what I think you're referring to, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But you are correct, and I think it is awesome that that is even a thing. And we are just like, it's just, man, my brain is struggling to wrap around the amount of awesome. Like, I was gonna play TWoW, and then I made the conscious decision to, well, I'm gonna wait a little bit before I play TWoW because I want to see what Blizzard's giving us at BlizzCon. And oh my god, am I so glad I decided to wait instead of going all in on that one, because I am going to be playing that so much. And you know how much I like alts, and that is going to be so incredibly alt friendly that it's just gonna be good. Like, there's nothing bad I can really say about it, other than I gotta wait 3 weeks to download it. Like, that's the
Right. Actually,
only.
you probably only have about 2 weeks to download, 3 weeks to play. Three
Okay,
downloads.
okay, yeah, well, I'll be queuing it up as soon as it says it's now
Oh yeah.
available. And I mean, I was telling you earlier today, I've already talked a couple of people into playing with us that literally hate WoW, so that should tell you a little something. Are there any of the changes? Oh, here's a big one. Oh my god, how did I almost outro without talking about this? Melee hunters.
Oh
Huh.
yeah. They said that
Man.
they're what was it? I can't remember about Melee Hunter, but I remember when I was hearing it, I was like, "Oh my god, they're making Melee Hunter a thing."
Yeah, so when he was announcing it, he was talking about dual wielding and lone wolf increasing the amount of
That's
damage
what it
they did
was.
by 25%. So when I think about that, and when I picture Melee Hunter, my 2 pennies automatically goes to PvP. And I'll tell you why. Because, everybody knows, oh, you get in the Hunter's Dead Zone and blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, you're still going to have the Dead Zone, but the Dead Zone's a whole lot less dangerous when the Hunter's not trying to get away from you.
Right, they're trying to get to you.
Yeah, so, like, they pop off a couple shots, maybe an aimed shot, and then once their stuff's on cooldown, just start running at you. Like, but okay,
Wait, what? You're a hunter. Get
what is
away.
happening? And then all of a sudden, all of their defensive cooldowns get much more dangerous. Like, we have swing timers. Okay, so right before your swing goes off, they feign death, pop up, and smack you in the mouth. Like, okay, sure. And then, like, wing clip spam's gonna be a thing, and all of these on next melee hits, and you're gonna be proccing like fiery weapon, and all, like, it's gonna open up this whole new avenue of like all of these things that are gonna be able to happen just because of one thing saying, oh hey, Now you just do 25% more damage. You want to go smack them and see how it goes? Like,
So on the note of PvP, do you remember hearing about the Ashenvale thing?
oh man.
Dude,
So,
that sounds super cool.
and as a PvP enthusiast myself, I like that it's not a queued up battleground, though they will be queued up battlegrounds, but like after so many
It's
kills,
PvP without being in a
yeah,
instance.
exactly. After so many kills happen out in the world, an event starts and then they go, "Oh, hey, go find the I think he called
Well,
them
camps.
the camps that have the generals of the other faction." And like, okay, yeah, sure, let's go. Like
Yeah.
that is just, man, it's gonna
And
be,
they said that that's going to be some of the best PvP or some of the best gear in the entire game at level 25
yep. So,
for just an
mhm.
open world PvP
well,
battleground without being a battleground.
what she said was, Warsong Gulch reputation. So you're gonna be able to get it in Ashenvale. I'm gonna guess there's some quests from open world PvP, from the events, and from Warsong Gulch. So there's going to be a whole new reason to be getting that reputation. And then I'm going to go out on a limb and say, once we hit the other side and the next level cap is 35 or 40 or whatever they make it, I'm thinking Arathi Basin is going to be holding some stuff for level 40 or 35 or whatever the next cap is too.
That would make sense.
It would, and I think it's going to be really cool because it's going to incentivize the people who never got those. Obviously, I like the PvP, so I got those factions exalted, but those people who never really got those factions or never really wanted to grind them are going to be like, oh, hey, now I have a reason to do this. Not only, is it because these are good battlegrounds, but there's actual incentive now. And then the people who don't like battlegrounds are going to be running around in the world PvP flagged trying to pick fights. And I think that's going to be just fun.
You know me. I don't PvP much. This has me stoked.
Well, here's the thing though. I also know what you're playing, and I know you're going to be playing with me. And you know, if I'm running around as a holy paladin, I am going to be flagged because who can kill a holy paladin? Like,
Um.
mhm.
Yes. No.
Exactly. Exactly. Like, can you kill a holy paladin? Yeah, sure. With help.
They just have too much to offset their weaknesses.
They do, in fact, especially at such low levels. Unless something changes drastically, there's going to be no Mortal Strike in the level 25 bracket. So,
So I do think they are going to be changing things around. Like the levels you get certain things and stuff like that. I'd say they're probably going to be tweaking stuff like that. Um, but we don't know how much they're going to change that. So you're probably right with the Mortal Strike. With that ability being so strong, it's probably going to stay high level.
yeah, because I mean that's your level 40 capstone talent in the arms tree, right? There's two restrictions. You have to be level 40, and you have to be arms, or you don't get it. And then wound poison, if I'm not mistaken, didn't come until level 30 for rogues, which is a stacking decrease of healing. So, but it's also only 5% per stack, so it's not as strong as Mortal Strike.
Right.
But either way, I think it's going to be cool. And you know how I feel about Warlock PvP. So if I got somebody running around dotting people and I can heal them, I'm going to get all of the honor kills all of the time.
Right.
And that is where I'm going to live. I also really like that we don't get mounts except in Ashenvale.
Right. Yeah. The only mount is a 50% increased movement speed. With reputation, I believe is what it was.
I don't
With
remember what the
oh,
prerequisite was, only that it
yeah.
has to be in Ashenvale. I don't know if it's going to be through a quest chain or if it's going to be through reputation or what the actual catalyst is to get it. I just know you're going to be able to get there. I don't, let's see,
Either
what,
way, that's cool.
yes, it is going to be amazing and it's just going to make it so much better. I hope that there are a couple little tweaks because what would be super cool is if as paladins we could get Crusader aura that early. So
Right.
that would be really neat. So can you
Uh,
think of anything about it we've not covered yet?
this one goes back to the warlocks. It's they get chaos bolt and haunt as well as the metamorphosis we talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just like I think actually chaos bolt is different than it is in wrath, but I'm pretty sure haunt is basically just haunt from wrath.
Yeah, Haunt is Haunt from
So
Wrath. It's going to increase damage. It's going to do dot. It's going to increase the damage from your dots, and it's going to do a dot itself. I also, if I'm not mistaken, I think I saw Malefic Rapture on the screen, or Malefic Grasp, maybe. I'm not sure, but I'm thinking there was a couple of things they didn't outright talk about that were on the screen when they were talking about Warlocks as something to be excited
right.
about. Mages are getting a heal. That's kind of cool. Let's see what else was cool. I like that the Rogue's taunt is called Tease. That is just
Yeah, when he said that, I
ah,
couldn't help but laugh because it's like, of
yeah,
course, that's exactly what a rogue would do. They would tease you, and
yeah,
then that would just make you mad, so you want to hit them in the face.
yep. And just like Willie says in his video when he's talking about rat stuff, with taunts, you know, you don't have to be in melee range to start talking. Yeah. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
um, let's see what else. We talked about rogues, paladins, priests, warriors. Warriors are getting the Cataclysm version of Victory Rush that heals
Yep.
you for 10% of your HP when used after a kill, which it only procs after a kill, obviously, if you've ever played a warrior, but 10% heal for a minimum rage cost after you kill an enemy is gonna be awesome.
Survival. Like,
Yes,
the biggest issue with warriors always been survivability, and that right there offsets that by a
yeah,
huge margin.
yeah. Their sustain is gonna be so good with that, and then they're just gonna be so much easier to level because like that's I play warrior a lot in classic WoW servers and always have, and it's just that little quality of life is going to be such that like it just makes it so much better to play that I think Warrior's going to get a little more love. But I also think based on the changes that they talked about that Fury Warrior may not necessarily be top dog DPS once we get to level 60 because some of these talents are going to tweak it, some of the reworks are going to tweak it. One of the big things I'm curious about that was not covered is how Wind Fury is going to work with
Mm,
dual wielding in Classic. Because originally, when you could dual wield and you had Wind Fury in TBC, it could proc, and I think it just proc your main hand, or it might have proc whichever weapon that you were wearing it on. Either way, it could proc, they can proc individually of themselves. So they both had an internal cooldown, but individually of themselves. So if your main hand weapon hit, it could proc. Your offhand weapon hit, it could proc. But they both have their own internal cooldown.
right.
I don't know if it's gonna have a chance on hit to give you 2 extra attacks with extra attack power with your main hand. If they're gonna rework it completely to balance it for for two one-handers, because increased attack power with two 2.8 speed or 2.6 speed axes with automatic hits, if you get hit 4 times with 200 extra attack power from a 2.8 speed weapon,
Yeah.
you're probably gonna die
Right.
immediately. And that's, obviously that's kind of the RNG roll the lottery fantasy of the enhancement shaman as we know it already in classic WoW, but being able to have that times 2, um, I'm wondering where they're going to go with that. Also, one of the best maces in the game is the misplaced salvo arm from Naxxramas Trash, which is not hard to get a group to farm. So, as a shaman who can dual wield, put together your raid group, go get 2 of those that have lightning damage on hit chance, as well as you can put Wind Fury on them, as well
Right.
as 2 instance attacks because you have Lava Lash and Storm Strike. Because why wouldn't you have both of those things? Because 2 instant attacks that use your weapons that scale with weapon damage are necessary, apparently.
Right. Right.
It's gonna be real interesting to see how that gets balanced. And I personally believe that the best DPS in the game is gonna be the dual wielding enhancement shaman when it comes down to end game best in slot, parsing orange numbers, who's doing the best
Depending
with
on how they
everything.
scale things, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because they have a lot of hit talents, they have a lot of just damage in general, and being able to cut the swing speed in half and then double down on all of those things is gonna just make it where it's gonna be its own thing, and it's gonna be hard to compete with that. My two pennies. All right, so we have covered.
Yeah.
I think that's everybody,
So I
right?
got another couple things to cover because we haven't really. So we've covered classes and the PvP. We haven't really covered the PvE.
It's probably because I hate BFD in the current iteration, but being
Right,
a raid
but
it
they
might
said
be
it's
kind of
seven
cool.
complete. They said it's seven completely new bosses, um, and that on itself, like they are reworking the bosses completely, redoing the mechanics. It's a 10-player raid. Um, yeah,
Oh, it's
I think,
definitely gonna be cool. There is no
and
doubt in my mind.
they used the phrase um, leveling raids.
Hmm.
So this isn't going to be a one-off thing, and I think they use like little teaser slides. I was actually listening to it, not watching it, but from what I gathered from context clues, they were basically teasing the next couple raids, and I
Hmm.
think one of them was like Nomergon, one of them was Scarlet Cathedral, one of them was uh, I can't think of the other one now, but there was another one. But yeah, like
So
more raids for leveling.
I got to see the slides, and yes, you are correct. They did, in fact, and they are, in fact, doing that. And oh my gosh, is it gonna be amazing?
Oh
So,
yeah.
the amount of hype I have for that particular thing now,
Yep.
because at the end, they did the typical Blizzard thing where they're like, oh, we're just gonna throw this in here. Oh, placeholder slide, please remove. He clicks the button. Something pops up on the screen. Oh, hey, that looks like the Scarlet Monastery fountain. And as somebody who's literally farmed inside Scarlet Monastery for thousands
Mm-hmm.
of hours, that is no
Yep.
exaggeration. I have farmed Scarlet Monastery for thousands of hours.
This man loves his Scarlet Monastery.
We are definitely going there for something that is not the original four dungeons.
Yeah.
Also, I think them giving us the key during Hollow's End in retail was also a hint that they were going to have a throwback.
Yeah, I think that was that. That's very well possible. Yeah.
On top of
Um,
that, the
what's that?
two other ones that it showed were an Alarmo bot from Nomergon, which
Yep.
I think I originally, the first time I went into Nomergon, my first thought was, wow, this is too big to be a dungeon. So I think Nomergon
Yeah.
would be an incredible raid because it is literally on the scale of Karazhan because Nomergon is a city,
It's
right?
it's it's
It's
huge.
a city, yeah. And then the other thing they showed was an entrance to the Karazhan Crypts, which we
That
know
was good.
originally was planned to be something when the game released. So we're in a very, very, very exciting place to see where this is going to go. And there's so much potential since Activision isn't calling the shots and Blizzard doesn't have to worry about the parent company just being like, oh my god, overhead and money because Microsoft doesn't care about money. So
No, they got plenty.
we're going to see a
One
lot of
last thing I
things.
wanted to mention. They didn't flat out say it, but they very much implied dual specking. or just free specking. Because
Um,
they were talking about really cheap respecs, and he says you never know, in the future we may look into something else.
well,
So
if I recall correctly, what he said was it's going to be a really cheap respec for now.
that's what it was, yeah. So that makes me think
Yeah.
that it's going to be like, yeah, it's a really cheap respec, and then depending on how players interact with it and if their feedback they get from it, then we're probably gonna get. In all honesty, I feel like we'll end up getting dual spec bus level 60.
I think dual spec is going to be there. I think it's going to be absolutely amazing because the biggest gripe most of my friends who play original classic anytime they play it on a different server, their biggest problem was, well, I needed to farm some gold and it literally cost me 100 gold to even get started. So like the first 100 gold you farm is not money. Like it's literally
Yeah.
your cost of farming. So like, you know, I have friends who raided on like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then on Thursday after raid they go respec, and then they stay that spec until Monday night, and they log on Tuesday, they respec, and then it's just like, okay, cool, whatever. And then, you know, if we get two things that I think would be huge, huge, huge to see: equipment manager and dual spec.
Yes.
That would make it so good. And further on that point, with so many classes now being able to tank, you have to itemize different. So I feel like they're kind of putting themselves in a position where if they don't do that, it's going to be hard on the players that want to play those classes. Because I, for one, know that there's leather gear that's better for tanking than it is for DPSing.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, if I'm going to tank on Marouge, and I mean, same thing with your shaman. Okay, cool. Maybe I want to be an elemental shaman, but I also want to tank. Or I want to do this and I also want to tank. Like, obviously, I'm playing the paladin, so the tanking for the pally's like, cool. Plate armor, hit me. Cool, I can wear whatever I want and heal you. But, you know, I won't have to make the decision when I'm not in a raid because everybody who plays paladin knows that you have to be at least 20 points. 21 points? 20, 21, 20, however many points. Uh, 11 points. It's 11 points. Yeah, so I was wrong both times. Into holy to even get consecration. So, you gotta be holy. And I think that's gonna be a big thing. I'm looking forward to, honestly, if I get the opportunity to just be a Shakadin all the time, that's what I'm gonna do. And we'll just see how it goes because it's gonna be fun, it's gonna be entertaining, and it's gonna feel good, the Crusader Strike. And all the changes, I think every change they announced, every tweak they announced is gonna be excellent, and I think there's going to be a lot of very happy people playing this game come November 30th, and I think it is going to be the biggest boom they've had since they said, or no, since he said, I heard you guys' favorite flavor was vanilla, and then BlizzCon lost it. So
Oh my god! Like I was watching that live that day, and it was silent when he was talking. Everybody's like, "What are you talking about?" And then he mentions vanilla, and the crowd just goes nuts.
oh
it was
yeah.
it was crazy.
It was
Yeah.
so good. Oh man. Um
Yeah.
it's gonna be so crazy. It's gonna be so good. It's gonna be just I
In
don't
all
even.
honesty, if they play their cards right, they don't even need retail anymore.
Well, the thing
Like
is,
if they play their cards right, this is gonna kill it.
I mean, I don't know if it's gonna kill it, but like it's gonna put them into position where they don't have to worry about it. Like,
Right?
I mean, like what's the downfall to giving like all of the
Players
heart?
what they want.
Yeah, and like the players that want this are the players who still love the game, that have been playing it for 14 plus years, like us.
Mm-hmm.
you know, we're what, 18, 17, 18 years in now? Like, we've literally been playing since almost the beginning. We started in
Been playing since
2006.
'06.
Yeah. So, like, we all want this. We all want to see these changes, and we all want to see the original game with all of its wonder, because like he was saying, like, it's solved. Give us something different. Like, I'm gonna be on those Discord communities where it's secret finding. We're gonna be doing
Yeah.
all of these things. It's gonna be so good, so fun, just so immersive, and like you're gonna feel connected to your character, because like, okay, cool, I want to be able to do Crusader Strike. I have to go out of my way to find someone else who has found the rune to get Crusader Strike.
Yup.
So like, you have to go out of your way to do the thing, and I think that is going to be absolutely intense, and we're just going to be and it's just
And
going to
they
put us in a situation where everything is just going to feel so much more impactful. You're going to feel like your character's growing, and every character you make, you're going to feel connected to, and you're going to feel like is developing, and it's just going to be incredible.
Yep. And they were saying basically the runes and stuff. Like once you hit level 2, you're gonna be able to get a quest that sends you to find your first rune.
Yeah, so
So
it's just right there, right? Like, it's like, cool, here's what we're doing. You're going to go to your trainer. What I think is going to happen, you're going to hit level 2, you're going to get your quest that says go see your trainer that's got your letter, right? You're going to turn that in. That's the prerequisite. You're going to pick up that quest that says, hey, you know, we've heard some things about these things. If you find them, bring them to me, and we'll see if we can figure out what they're for. And
that would
then,
actually make a lot of sense.
yeah, like, here you go. Like, cool, we've heard these things exist. Go find us one. And then that's what you're going to do. And it's just going
That's
to...
a cool way to add that to the lore too. Just be like, hey,
Yep.
so we heard rumors about a type of magic that we've never heard of before. Why don't you go find some, bring them back to us, and we can try and figure it out together, type deal. You know, it just adds more like backstory to why these things are happening.
Yep, that is exactly how it's going to be. And I cannot tell you how excited I am to see all of this come around. And the fact that it is this close, I don't think anybody is going to have as much fun at any point in the game as they will come November 30th, when they get to jump back into it and experience all of the things they felt as a kid, plus all of the things that they've been asking for the past 10 years. And they're just... Go ahead.
I was going to say, the cool part is, like, when we were kids, this stuff wasn't figured out, right?
Yeah.
Like, this was all new. Even when we started playing in '06, like, Burning Crusade was still being figured out. They were still trying to figure out the meta and everything else. And, you know, YouTube wasn't as popular. But now, like, YouTube and stuff is super popular, but there's no PTR. There's no beta for this. They're saying, here, go figure it out. So we are literally all going to be figuring it all out at the same time. And that's going to bring that
wonder,
joy of wonder, of just pure exploration gameplay that we haven't had in Warcraft and basically since Wrath.
Well,
Because
you already
since then,
know.
YouTube's exploded.
You already know there's going to be clips and videos of me losing my crap when I find something. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to be making videos. I'm going to be like, hey guys, look, I was over here in this random cave over here by blah, 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 and I found this. And then, like...
And we are definitely going in every cave.
Man, I don't know if you remember when we first started playing. This is a little bit of a tangent, but when I played my hunter, bro, if Explore Kalimdor was an achievement, I had it before I was level 30. Like, I went everywhere. I swam into fatigue water. So I found on my hunter that random relic box you have to go get in the fatigue water on a druid to get your swim form, when I didn't even know it was a thing. And I don't know if you've ever went to get that. It is in the most out of the way, obscure water, just out in the middle of nowhere. You have to stop on a breathing bubble to get to it. It is that out of the way. And I found that on my hunter. So I'm going to be everywhere, all of the places, doing all the things. And it is going to be a lot of fun. All right, so we are rambling at this point. Is there anything you can think of that we haven't covered yet that we might need to talk about before I sign off of here?
Honestly, I think we've covered just about everything that I can remember. I was so stoked hearing all the news that I probably forgot a couple things. But,
I mean,
yeah.
let's be real. You and I were just playing Epoch a second ago, and I went, hey, let's talk about this real quick. So it's not like we're scripting or anything. Anyway,
Right.
well, that's been me, and it's been Basil, and I appreciate you guys hanging out and talking to us, and hope you guys are excited about this as we are, because this is going to be crazy. Don't forget to
make sure you guys let us know what you're excited for when it comes to this too.
absolutely throw something in the comments. Let us know what you're stoked about. Anyway, again, throw something in the comments, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you stuck around. We're out of here. See ya.
Later.